that's the core emotional story of the show that I've always wanted to stick to, and finding different iterations of it. And now, whether we can get her back where she is, and can the family be reunited, or those are some of the big questions of the season.
Oh my goodness. I'm such a big fan of the series. So I'm so excited to get to chat with you. Um, I mean, of course, the series is coming to a close. So I have to start off by asking, how does it feel, to be coming to the end and bringing all these characters, their journey to completion?
It's definitely bittersweet. It's been such an amazing journey. I've been working on this for 4.5 years, and so many challenges and so much time and effort put into it. So it's something sad. There's something sad about seeing something that you love so much, ending. But at the same time, I feel really proud of how we were able to wrap things up, and really give the audience the an emotionally cathartic ending for these characters that they care about. And also, we're able to create just a really exciting and big and gigantic season. I think it's our most epic season, in terms of visual effects, in terms of production, and in terms of surprises. And I think all of it makes for, a season that I think really is going to grip the audience, and they're going to really, people who care about the show are really going to be into. So, a lot of emotions, but it's mixed for sure.
Now, I know that things were kind of up in the air with the strikes and everything. So how early on when you were writing season 3 did you know that this would be the last one?
We knew from the beginning of writing. That's what we were told before we started the season. So, while, certainly disappointing to know that it's ending, it's also, useful in terms of how you craft stories, because you can really write to the ending. So the first thing that we figured out as a group, as a writing group, was, where do we want to bring all the characters? And then once we had that idea, once we had those ideas, we could really craft all the stories around that. So, not a lot of shows don't get that luxury. A lot of shows, they just end, and then, they weren't able to write to good endings, and then the audience is frustrated. But no one in the audience will feel frustrated by this ending. I think the series finale is our best episode we've ever done, in terms of, it's the biggest episode. It's also the most emotional episode, and everything is building towards that. So it's really one long emotional and action adventure story that we're telling in this season. So it's really exciting, that we got to do it this way, and that, people are pretty soon going to get to experience it for themselves.
Were you able to stick to the original ending that you had planned, or did you have to deviate at all, kind of given the 6 episodes that you had to close it out?
There were certain landmarks and things that I knew I wanted to happen from the very beginning, from when I conceived the show. But like the core things, but there were a lot of stories and journeys that changed and shifted along the way based on, other feedback we would get from other producers or executives, or just different ideas that would come in from other writers or the cast themselves. So it's just really about being open to what the best idea is a lot of times. But other times, you just want to stay true to what the show is. So it's really a balancing act that I've had to do along the way.
Well, so much happened in the season 2 finale, especially. So I'm so excited to see how season 3 continues that. I think I'm most curious about why you decided it would be the best decision to have Eve be the one who was sucked into the portal and separated from her family, since you could have chosen anyone. So I am curious why you thought Eve was the way to go.
From the beginning of the show, that the heart of it has been about a divided family that's trying to get back to each other. And, in the opening of the pilot, it's Eve and Josh are separated from Gavin and Izzy. But then we've had different iterations of the family being separated along the way, whether physically or emotionally. So, even when they did get back together in season 2, the family was divided over James, Gavin's father. So this is just another version of that same story, but in a different way. Now it's Eve who's taken away from the family, and how do they get back to her? So it's really just, that's the core emotional story of the show that I've always wanted to stick to, and finding different iterations of it. And now, whether we can get her back where she is, And can the family be reunited? Or, those are some of the big questions of the season.
Well, on the same note of family, we also found out that Gavin has a sister who may be the antagonist. I don't know. We don't really know yet. We're not really sure who she is, but was it always the plan for him to have a sibling, or was that something that developed as you were writing the season?
I always knew he would have a sibling. When and where we would encounter that person and what they're, who they are specifically, are things that have adjusted over time. But, he has a complicated and interesting familial history with 10,000 BC and with the creation of time travel. And I knew I wanted to extend beyond just his father or his mother, that there are other strands, because that's a story that we continue to tell in season 3, who Gavin is, what his backstory is. And there are going to be a lot of surprising, not just about the sister, but other elements of his backstory that inform all the things that we've learned before, and also might also be the key to how they ultimately get home.
One of the things that I personally love about TV is that I found that it often even surprises the people who are creating it. So, with that being said, was there a character or relationship that really caught you off guard, or had you deviate from your original plan?
I think one of the relationships that I didn't conceive of originally was Lucas and Veronica's relationship. I knew I wanted to bring in Lucas vis-a-vis his relationship with Mary Beth, his mother, who passed away. And Veronica had a much different story in the beginning, where she was, essentially a captor of a kidnapped girl. But those two characters have grown and changed in ways that I wouldn't have expected. And, now they're together and about to have a kid. It's like the two biggest outcasts are now, having the most human and relatable story of anyone, really. So that is something that I didn't necessarily see coming, that characters who are, might be, antagonists or, not necessarily heroic people, but now they've come into their own and are have undergone such huge journeys with themselves, and now we're going to bring, a new baby into the world, is a exciting one.
Well, kind of on the other side of things, if you had additional time, is there a plot line or something in particular that you wish you could have been able to explore or expand on?
Yeah, there are a lot of stories. I mean, when we have so many series regulars, and the ability of time travel can go to so many different places. So there were definitely a lot of different stories that I had in my head that I could have or wanted to tell, but knowing what the constraints of this season were, you just focused on what the stories were that were would bring it to the most satisfying and emotional and exciting conclusion, and you base it around that. I think the story, the show had the ability to go in lots of different directions. So there were a lot of different strands and discursive places we could have gone. But I think this is the season is the best season because it's the best version. We basically looked at everything that we could have done and chosen the best versions of them. So I think it's it's really going to be an impactful third season.
Oh, I'm so excited to see it. As soon as I saw the dinosaurs, I was like, oh, this is going to be amazing. So it looks like that is about my time for today. But thank you so much for chatting with me, David. It was so lovely to speak with you. And again, I can't wait to see how it all wraps up.